So let's circle back to COVID for a second. During COVID, I know myself definitely, and many people across the globe struggled a lot with like mental health during that period because you're locked inside. Do you struggle with mental health?
Yeah, actually, I don't know if you can call it just melancholy because I got diagnosed with depression, I think, when I was 12, 13. And I took a bunch of antidepressants and stuff, and it just made me sluggish. When I started the boarding school, I basically just threw them away. You should never do that. Never do that. I was not in a good place. But I had the new friends to actually hang out with and take my mind off things. So yeah, I've never been clinically declared healthy.
Like they've never undeclared you depressed.
Yeah, I just never followed up on it. And I just accepted the things like I'm easier to fall into the feelings of sadness and sorrow and those kind of things. I can feel joy, of course. It's and funny things, no problem. But happiness is a concept it's in the future for me. You know what I mean?
Like, do you mean just fleeting happiness, day-to-day happiness, or like that deep feeling of satisfaction and happiness?
Satisfaction part. I know my path. I'm on the path. I know this is where I'm going. This is where I'm staying. That feeling, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm still climbing stuff, and it's still very uncertain. You have like with the music, you have it's going up. Then you have a dip.
Of course. It's always up, and then back down, and then up.
Yeah. And then you don't feel less joyful.
Yeah, it's funny. You really think, you look at it, you're like, I know that things are going really good, but I know that it's going to hit a dip again. Yeah. And then it hits the dip, and you're like, even though you knew it was coming.
Yeah, it's like what's it called, Sisyphus or something, rolling the stone up the hill, and it goes back down.
Yep, exactly. So like that. If you've been struggling with depression for a long time, I'm kind of curious, like, what sort of things do you do actively to go against it, to combat it? When you feel these sort of things creeping in, what do you do to push them back, keep it at bay?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a healthy coping mechanism, but I actually dive really deep into like the music. Okay. I overwhelm myself with tasks, I think. I produce really much, I produce a lot. Yeah. And of course, I don't release like half of it. It's just practicing, Can I make this? Can I make this? Okay, I've made this. Does it feel right? No, it doesn't actually feel like I want to do more songs of this kind. I throw it away. Or maybe I just leave it as is because it doesn't fit me. But I know, okay, I can do it. If I set my mind to it, but my heart isn't in it, and I just throw it away. So
it's like you do tasks. You overwhelm yourself with things.
Keep busy. Something to solve, problem solving, something to figure out. That's my go-to to not actually feel.
Why do you think that works?
Because then you have a purpose, I think, just for the moment. I have to figure it out. I have to solve this.
It's kind of like this quote I heard the other week, how if you're feeling bad, it's a lot easier to act your way into thinking differently than it is to think your way into acting differently. Like if you do what you said and you're just start doing things, you kind of distract yourself, and before long you're feeling better, versus sitting in your bed, like sinking into the hole and thinking like, okay, I'm going to get up, I'm going to attack the world, I'm going to do this.
It's actually said it's harder to actually sit in a hole and think about what you're going to do, because then you're not distracted. Then you're actively thinking about that you're not doing anything and you have to do something. But if you start doing something, doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's interesting enough, or don't create problems, find problems that you want to see if you can solve.
Yeah. So, what do you do when music doesn't appeal to you?
Yeah, I binge movies and series actually on. I don't want to drop names. We're not sponsored, so not yet.
Video streaming services.
Yeah.
Nice. So you work full time, right?
Yeah.
And you still manage to release music pretty consistently. So what is your strategy for balancing these two? Because obviously producing songs takes a lot of time, a lot of brain energy. So how do you do it?
The first year, I actually got burned out by December. It was many problems with family and stuff, and the actually trying to produce music after work. So I was staying up way too late. I didn't get enough sleep, so I just burned myself out, and I actually got sick leave for 2 or 3 months. So
What?
when I got back, yeah,
They'll give you 2 or 3 months off of work because you're sick?
It was mentally exhausting. I was actually seeing a doctor, and this was also during pandemic time still. So I was doing it video call with doctors and psychologists and just explaining what's happening. And I was actually getting I didn't know it myself, but she described it to me. She was watching me. You're not breathing. Your breath is going more shallow. You're having a panic attack, and you don't even know it. And I was like, okay. So she recommended the sick leave to the doctors. The doctors were prescribing it. I could show it to work, and they could pass it on to the insurance companies, and for me to recuperate and come back to work. So now, actually, I still work the 40 hours a week, but I only work 4 days because I have 10-hour work days. So before I was having 50-hour work weeks and producing music. So
that's a lot.
Yeah, it was too much.
But I mean, you're still doing that now, right?
No, actually, I'm keeping it to Fridays to Sundays.
So you just produce music 3 days a week?
Yeah, or I kind of get a sneak start at maybe Thursday night because I don't have to get up early at Friday. So
okay, so you're basically just breaking up. Half the week is real work, half the week is music work.
Yeah, it's kind of like I treat it kind of like a second job because I can easily, if I'm having a flow, I can easily sit 8 hours straight. I forget to eat. I have water with me, of course, but I forget to eat. So it's not healthy.
Would you say that's average for you? Do you sit down like 8 hours a day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to grind some music out?
I try to do it. Yeah, I have to be productive in some kind of way. I can't just. I've set kind of a deadline. I try to release one time a month, basically, and that's actually a hard deadline.
It is. It seems like 4 weeks. Of course, I can make one song every 4 weeks, but to actually meet that month after month after month, it's a lot. Let's see here. Consistency. You seem like a pretty type A person. Like you're like activities. Do you ever struggle with discipline?
Yeah, it's actually getting started with the activities. Once I get rolling, I am actually, well, not unstoppable. I take a really long time to unwind. It's like I'm slow to get up to speed, but then when I'm keeping speed, I have an easier time just keeping it. And then when I slow down, I actually got to take 2-3 hours to slow down before I go to bed because otherwise I can't.
Because your brain is just going and going, or?
Yeah, I think so. I still have to do something. I think that's part of the depression state because if I don't do anything, well, that my mind goes to dark places. It just gets to a hole where it's like, is it worth doing this? Am I on the right path? You know what I mean? Not depressive thoughts, it's just doubtful thoughts.